Hey, what's up everybody? It's Spencer. We're going to do another tutorial video today. This one's just going to be on how to get a good professional looking seat cover job for your motorcycle, preferably a motocross bike. The same principle applies whether it's a street bike, a four-wheeler, three-wheeler, jet ski, whatever. You go about it in pretty much the same way. So hopefully this is helpful to you guys to make it a little bit easier and make sure you get a really good result. The things you're going to be needing right off the bat, first of all, you need a seat. Also a new seat cover. You definitely want to buy something that's good quality material. There's a lot of companies out there that make really good seat covers. A lot of graphics companies do it. Thrill Seekers makes a great seat cover. Guts Racing makes great seat covers. There's a lot of companies, but if you buy some like $30 eBay crap, don't expect it to be great or your final result to look great either. You get what you pay for. You can tell a big difference in the quality of material by how elastic it is. You can get a much tighter finish on a good quality seat cover. So make sure you spend the money on that. The next thing you'll be needing is like an upholstery staple gun of some sort. This one in particular is a Win upholstery staple gun. It was like 30 bucks off of Amazon. It's got a 1/4 inch crown, which is just like the width of the staple at the top, and then they're 1/4 inch leg length. So they're pretty small. You don't want to go anything bigger than, like 3/8 of an inch leg length, because you'll actually, you might accidentally come at the side with a radical angle and poke a hole through the seat base itself. The seat base, the plastic is really thin, so I prefer like a 1/4 inch, something as small as possible, a thin gauge too. It really doesn't take a lot of pressure to do this, but this is a pneumatic staple gun. You don't want to use like a little hand stapler where you pull the trigger and it does it. It just doesn't have enough power to get into the seat base really good. So I definitely recommend a pneumatic one. And then a box of staples is like, it comes, I think mine was like 5,000 staples for like 10 bucks or something off of Amazon, and they delivered next day. So it's kind of hard to beat for something so simple. But if you have a lot of motorcycles and stuff, you'll probably want to do your own seat covers at some point, and it'll save you a lot of money. And then you're going to need some contact cement of some sort if you're replacing the seat foam like I am. If you're not, if you're just doing a seat cover, you're fine with what you got. But make sure it's kind of warm when you're doing it. If you have a space heater or something, if you're out in a workshop like me and you're doing it during the winter time, get yourself a space heater or something like that, and it'll help make the seat cover a little bit more stretchy, and you'll get a better finish out of it. So we'll get started. I'm just gonna pull off the old staples. I've got a little magnetic tray so I can drop all the staples in. I'm just gonna use a flat blade screwdriver and a set of dikes, or just regular pliers or whatever works fine. We're not trying to save the old seat cover or anything like that. It's worn out. I've been using it for like 2 years. So I'll speed through this and everything, just yank them all out. All right, so now that we have the old seat cover and the seat foam removed, I would like to mention that if you're working on like a bigger motocross bike, especially a Japanese brand, make sure that the seat posts are like able to be removed. These ones are riveted on, so I'm not going to worry about it. But if you can take them off, it will make your life a lot easier when you're putting the seat cover on. I know some older Hondas, like CR125s and CR250s or something like that, if I remember right. They just have like two bolts here that you can pull out and then remove the individual seat posts left and right. And so definitely recommend taking those off if you can. But for this seat, for my TTR 110, we're just gonna have to work around them, which kind of sucks, but it'll be all right. So I just went and picked up some Weldwood contact cement from Ace Hardware. I bought this over the spray adhesive kind that like 3M makes and stuff, just for the simple reason that the spray adhesive is kind of hard to aim. It fans out a lot and you'll end up making a big mess. So I use this stuff for like HydroTurf on my jet ski and stuff like that all the time. It's like $10 for the can. It'll get you a pretty long way. Just make sure you seal it up really good, otherwise it won't last very long for you. It'll dry out inside of the can. But I've already got the seat foam marked. I marked the seat base and the foam on the sides, back, front, everywhere, just so I could get it lined up without, you know, having to try to shift it, because once I put this contact cement on, it's a done deal. So I'll put a little bit of contact cement along the bottom, anywhere that there's not a hole in the base, and put it on the base and the seat foam itself. Let it sit for a little while until it gets tacky, and then stick it on, and we'll be ready to put a new seat cover on. But if you're not replacing the foam, you can just ignore this part of it. Doesn't really matter, doesn't apply to you. But you know, at some point you're probably going to have to replace some seat foam, so I thought this would be helpful to show. So I just got done putting the Weldwood contact cement on both the seat base and the seat foam. And the reason this is a pretty important step is that when you're adjusting the seat cover and trying to get it tight and everything with your initial staples, if your seat foam's not glued on somehow, it can kind of want to shift from side to side, and you'll wind up with a crooked seat. Now we have the seat foam onto the base, stuck on good. Give it a little bit of time to dry before you start messing with the seat cover, but it's stuck on there. So we can start with the seat cover now. Now, something to be warned about is the flex from front to back of the seat base itself. Pit bikes and small motorcycles, they tend to have a pretty janky seat base, you know, really thin plastic. So it's actually really possible when you're starting off putting on the seat, you start from front to back, get it pretty tight that way first. You can actually make the seat base kind of bow up, and then it's very difficult to get the seat to line up after the fact. So there is such a thing as too tight. What you want to do is start off by putting the front and then the back on. And then you're going to pull it tight enough to where you can almost see a little bit of a wrinkling in the middle, parallel to the length of the seat. And that's how you know you have it tight enough. So I had the seat cover just pulled over front and back. I'm going to start off by putting staples along the front here, just a few staples to hold it tight, and then I'm going to pull on the back some, get it even tighter, and put a few staples back here too. And what this will allow me to do is kind of push this down by hand and make sure that my seams are centered. You don't want to get too far along and then realize that it's crooked, and then you have to pull a bunch of staples out. You risk tearing the seat cover and everything. Guts Racing did a nice job on this seat cover. I like that it has seams going all the way down the front. That kind of helps as a reference to see when you really have it tight enough. The seams should be a little visible, but you don't want to see seams all over the place when it's actually on the bike. So trying to get them tucked just slightly over this edge will definitely help you out. But we'll start plugging along and putting some staples in this thing, and I'll explain a little bit more as I get going. So we've got the front, just a few staples in, holding it where I want it to. The rear, I'm not doing like a crazy straight line with the staples right now. Chances are I'll end up pulling these out at some point, and then I'll run a nice pretty row up underneath here. So if I ever sold this bike, at least somebody who takes off the seat wouldn't think I'm a complete idiot. So I try to build everything that way, because like I really want it to be nice, you know, so when somebody else sees it down the road, you know, they think at least I have some kind of clue of what I'm doing. So now you can pretty much start working your way down the sides. Now you need to be careful when you're doing the sides to make sure that the seams stay centered. And so like I can tell here that this side is a little bit further to the side than this side. So what I may end up doing is pulling these front ones out and just shimmying it over a little bit. The rear looks pretty well centered, so I can probably roll with that. But the front, I'm probably gonna shift it over by like, you know, a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch or something like that. Not by much. So I'll get rolling with it. I'll try to explain some more while I'm doing it, but you know, keep it as short-winded as possible so I don't bore you guys to death with a stupid seat cover. So what I'm doing here is I'm working my way from front to back evenly on the sides. You don't want to do all the way down one side and then do the other, because you'll see that the seam will kind of shift and you'll get it off center. So it's pretty important to take it pretty evenly. It's nice to start further down when you're doing your staples, like towards the center of the seat base, so you can go back and add another row closer to the edge after you're done and tighten it up a little bit more. There we go. So after all that work, I got a nice presentable, borderline decent seat cover here. I think it turned out pretty good. I went back after the fact and just tightened up some of this around here to get rid of any of that waviness in between the ribs. So I think it turned out pretty good. Then I just went back and trimmed off all the excess fabric here and put some extra staples anywhere that I had like skipped an inch or so. I just put some more in there as reinforcement. You know, the underside isn't completely critical, but I do like it to look somewhat decent, just in case somebody buys my motorcycle and I did the seat cover and they pull it off and they'll be like, wow, this kid's an idiot. You know, the seat cover sucks. But so I try to do a pretty decent job. Trim around the seat mounts here and then just tuck it down in there where you can't actually get a staple in on this, like, you know, little area beside the seat mounts. But overall, I think it turned out pretty cool. If you have any questions, let me know. If this helped you, I hope you drop a like on it. If there's something else you want me to go through and do a little demonstration of, please let me know. I'll be glad to do it. Just get out there and build some stuff and do it yourself when you can. Take it easy.